Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to introduce you to flowcharts. Flowcharts are a super useful way to document and develop programs that contain conditional statements such as if, else, and elseif. Let's take a look at how we can use them. So what we have here is a flowchart representation of the if statement. Flowcharts are useful for developing and documenting programs that contain conditional statements because they can display the various paths that a program can take. Let's take a look at this if statement flowchart. So we start off with some sort of input to the program that is evaluated based on this logical expression. And if that statement is evaluated as true, then the program does something and evaluates this statement and ends. However, if the logical expression evaluates the input as false, then the program ends. Let's take a look at this logical expression and see what we could use here. So in this logical expression, you're probably going to use one of these relational operators. For example, evaluating to see if your input is less than, greater than, or equal to a specified value. Let's take a look at an example now. So let's say we have a grade of 65, and what we want to know is if we've passed the class. So our grade is greater than or equal to 60, that is true, and so we have passed the class, and the program ends. One of the problems with the if statement is that we really only have one path to follow. If the logical expression is evaluated as true, then we evaluate some sort of statement and then end the program. However, if that logical expression was false, then the program just ends, and this really isn't too ideal. This leads us to the else statement. The else statement is almost always accompanied with an if statement. So here's how the else statement works. We evaluate our logical expression, and if it's true, then we evaluate statement 1 and end the program. But now we have a second path that we can follow. So if we evaluate the logical expression and it's false, then we evaluate statement 2 instead of just ending the program. So now we have two different paths that we can follow. And after we evaluate statement 2, then we end the program. So let's take a look at our grade example again. So let's say we have a grade of 59 and we input that into our program. Well, the grade is not greater than or equal to 60. So this means this logical expression is false. And now instead of just ending the program, we can say that yes, the grade was lower than 60. So we have unfortunately failed the course and the program ends. So one of the limitations of the else statement is we have two paths to take. The logical expression could be true and we execute statement 1, or it could be false and we execute statement 2. But what if we have more than two paths that we want our program to take? This leads us to the else if statement, which looks complicated at first, but it's really just a bunch of additional else statements in our program. So let's take a look at how this works in our flowchart. So we start the program and evaluate logical expression 1. And if it's true, we evaluate statement 1 and end the program. However, if it's false, we move on to logical expression 2, which if true, we evaluate statement 2 and end the program. Similarly, if logical expression 2 is false, we move on to logical expression 3, and if true, we evaluate statement 3 and end the program, and so on and so forth. So how you would read this is, if logical expression 1 is true, then you evaluate statement 1. Else if logical expression 2 is true, you evaluate statement 2. Else if logical expression 3 is true, then you evaluate statement 3, and so on and so forth. So let's return to our grade example. And let's say we have a grade of 72. Now, when we get to this first logical expression, the grade is not greater than or equal to 90. So the logical expression is false, and we move on to our second logical expression. Now, similarly, the grade of 72 is not greater than or equal to 80, so this statement is false, and we move on to our third logical expression. Now, in this case, our grade is greater than or equal to 70. That is true, which means we have received a C in the course, and our program ends. So I hope this was a good introduction to flowcharts and the different conditional statements that you can use when programming. Thanks for watching. You can find me at David Calamus on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you liked this video and would like to see more, subscribe below.